All right, morning, everybody. Welcome to a round of coffee and questions. And what is, or if it's late in the day, your favorite beverage. What's today's topic? Well, we'll talk about, Harbor Freight's air hose reel, the one that's made by Merlin, and it usually comes with a 3/8 air hose, and it's usually 50 feet. Okay, and I'll show you the advertisement real quick. Now, I did a video a long time ago, 4 or 5 years ago, somewhere in there, 4 years ago, that I had bought one and what I thought about it. And for me, I'm a DIY person. I mounted it in my garage. I use it in my garage. And I read through all the reviews and all this stuff, and I belong to a couple of forums and a club. And out at the club, the last meeting, everybody sat around and talked about this one, the Merlin one versus others that you can buy, and the problems that they had with it and what they thought about it. Now, first of all, going back, I'm a DIYer. It's inside of my garage, and I take care of it just like any of the other tools. So if you're doing construction work and you're leaving it laying around all over the ground and you're pulling it and you're throwing it in your truck bed, and or you have a shop of some kind and you're going to, let's say, use this a lot more than probably I do as a DIYer, but it's lasted me and it's been okay. But we'll talk about some of the criticisms and some of the things that you can do, I mean, if you choose to. Now, the first criticism on this was the hose is crappy. It's going to break on you real easily. It's going to fall apart. It's going to leak. It's going to do all of this. Well, there are two options whenever that starts to happen. Of course, you can go out and buy yourself a better air hose and hook it up to the reel. Now, the one that I have and I used, it lasted me a long time, and I'm still using it. And what I do is occasionally I wipe it off, I clean it off, and I put on a rag, I spray some silicone spray, and I wipe it down, and then I retract it and reel it up. But like I said, I'm an intermittent user. I'm not using this every single day. Now, if I was in the construction trades or something like that, and I would get a much better quality hose. What would I get in particular? I'll show you a photograph. I have some that I bought in probably close to 10 years ago. They're made by Goodyear, and they have no cracks in them like the Merlin does. The Merlin's going to crack on you real easily. And on mine, I've got cracks all over that shielding that's on there, but they haven't penetrated through and caused any air leaks. The air leaks that I've repaired on it have been near the fittings, and I've had to cut 3 or 4 inches or whatever off of it, put a new coupler on there and like that. But I haven't had any, luckily, like in the middle of the air hose, so I'm still using it. But when it fails, and I assume that it will at some point in time, I have my Goodyear hoses. I can just take one and put it on there. Now, Goodyear makes a fantastic product, and I'll show you the advertisements right now. So yeah, the Goodyear hoses are going to cost you a bit more, like $10 more or whatever it was that, I showed you on the advertisement. I'll leave you all of the links below on the Goodyear hoses. Now, I've got the red ones. So how would I rank, these Merlin hoses? Well, I'd rank them as non-professional, okay? Because like I said, if you're professional, get yourself a better quality air hose. Now, also Goodyear, and I'll show you another advertisement, makes hose reels, but they are far more expensive than anything, like the one out at Harbor Freight, the Merlin. Okay, so you could see, I mean, if you're running like an automotive shop or a body shop, anything like that, you're going to want a much better quality reel. But for, the do-it-yourselfer like me, this thing worked fine, and it's been working fine. So, and like I said, I've had it for about 4 years. So on the cracking, even though, like I told you, I clean it occasionally with, a rag, and I wipe it down, with the silicone spray, that hose has still got cracks all over it. And somebody said, well, you could just take electrical tape, and wrap it around. I'm not going to go through that. The hoses don't cost that much anyway. If I wanted to buy a replacement hose out at Harbor Freight, I'll just throw it out when it starts to actually leak in the middle, and I've got to start cutting it up and splicing it with couplers and all this. I'm not going to do that. I'll switch over myself. You can take a chance and buy, maybe a better quality one at Harbor Freight. But in my case, like I said, I'll just put on one of my Goodyear hoses, and you can buy them in 25-foot, 50-foot lengths or whatever, and put them on there. And my air hoses have got quick release, connections on them, so I can very easily put on whether it's a 25 or a 50, and easily just go ahead and connect and add another 25 or 50. So, I have a game plan for when it fails. Now, one of the guys out at the club said, well, why are you using, the silicone lubricant? And I go, well, if you use anything else, it's going to pick up, and a lot of dust and debris and stuff is going to stick to it. And he goes, well, I just use oil out of the kitchen. He goes, that I have. He goes, I don't remember if it was olive oil or macadamia oil. And I started laughing. He goes, no. He goes, I clean it and I wipe it down with that. And he goes, and that seems to work. And I'm like, okay, well, if that works for you, fine. I happen to have these sprays laying around. I just think that the silicone spray, it works good for me. Now, the biggest, well, not the biggest, but one of the biggest, there's two big complaints I noticed on these is the mounting sucks, and if you need to tension it more than what it is, the procedure to do it is very difficult. Okay, now I'm going to talk about how to tension it, and I'm going to put that at the end of the video because I have a step sheet that you can hit the pause key, read it, make notes or whatever you want to do, and I tell you step by step how to tension it. Let's talk about the mounting of it first. Okay, the way that the reel is to the mounting plate, that space is so tight you can't really get in there with anything to secure it. Let's say you were going to secure it to a piece of wood. Just as an example for a minute, and then I'll tell you better ways to do this. You can't get in there with any of your standard kind of tools like a socket or anything like that. So what you're going to end up having to do is one method is use a box end wrench. Now you can use that, and they said, well, some of these don't come with hardware. Well, if you go down and buy lag bolts or whatever bolts you're going to buy, you're still going to have to get in there with a box end wrench unless you want to disassemble the reel off of the mounting plate totally, then mount it, and then go ahead and remount the reel. And most people don't want to do that. So like I said, the one method is you could get in there with a box end wrench. So you would end up buying, hex head bolts in order to do that, or lag bolts, or, whatever. Use the hex head, like I said, because you could get in there with an open end wrench. Some people say that the hose, okay, going to the hose again for a minute, then we'll come back to the mounting plate. They said the hose comes with residue on it. Well, that's okay. All you got to do is take some kind of degreasing cleaner, wipe it down. Go ahead, use silicone spray or whatever you want. I mean, it's not really a big deal to, I don't see it as a big criticism. Going back to the mounting plate, the thing is the guy at the club said, yeah, but you should not have to disassemble the reel off of the mounting plate, go through all of that and remount it. That's ridiculous. And I go, look, I agree, you should not have to do it. But like I told you, the workaround is just use an open end wrench. Or you could use a swivel socket. If you have a swivel socket, you could probably get in there, and then if you have a long extension, you could, I suppose, go ahead and do it that way. That's not the way I did it. I just used the open end wrench. Okay, so the thing became, well, it's kind of a pain, to mount all the way around the way that it is. It doesn't really seem like it's that strong or sturdy of a mounting plate. I think it is. I think the whole unit is fairly, heavy duty. Here's your way around this mounting plate thing. You can, if you take a look at mine over there, I have it mounted to a post. Now, if you're going to do this in your garage and you got your studs and your spacing and so forth, you can make your own mounting plate out of a 2x8 or plywood. And so I would use a thick plywood, whether it's 3/4 or 5/8, okay? And so you can cut and make a square mounting plate. Then turn around and mount the mounting plate on the Merlin to that piece of wood. Get it nice and snug and everything. And then you could really put this thing anywhere in your garage or shop you want and bolt it straight into the wall and into the studs of the wall. And I think that that's really, out of everything that we discussed, I felt that that was the best approach. So personally, I would have gotten, the thicker plywood and just made it to my liking as a mounting plate and then mounted, the Merlin to that. Other people said, well, you could use the 2x8 too. And yeah, that's true. You can. So it's just a matter of preference and what you want to do. But, that's one way to do it. And like I said, it's convenient. You can put it anywhere you want at that point. Well, how wide would you make it? Well, you can figure this out on your own. But obviously, I'm going to make it a lot. I'm not a lot. I'm going to make it wider than the mounting plate. And I'm going to make it taller than the mounting plate so that the mounting plate sits like right in the middle of it. And then, like I said, you have it to where you can mount this to the studs in your wall wherever you're at. Overall, do I like it? Yeah, it's a lot better than hand coiling it and hanging it up. And I have it attached in my garage where, yeah, I could blow my garage out or blow off the beds on any of my tools, whether it's, the lathe, the drill press, bandsaw, whatever. And I have enough extension to where I can use it and actually walk out front to the driveway, and I kind of blow it over into a pile. I go clean it up. You can blow your driveway off with it. Now, what do you use for your air gun? Okay. What I use, I've bought all of these, not all of them, but I've bought several of these cheapy air guns before, and they work okay. And then I upgraded to Coil House, and I'll show you an advertisement. Now, that Coil House is incredibly powerful. Incredibly powerful. And I would never go back to any other kind of a blowgun after having it. And it's not going to wear out on you or anything else. It's a fantastic thing. Again, the links are below, and I'm going to leave you on this. But that Coil House is really a fantastic tool to have. All right, so let's talk about the tensioning of it. A lot of people say, like, when they get it, it doesn't have enough tension to, retract the hose that came with it, the Merlin hose. Now, if you need to go buy another one, of course you can. But like I said, me personally, I would prefer the Goodyear. But whatever you decide to buy, it's not recoiling like you want it to. So how do you tension it? Okay, I'm going to switch now, and I'm going to go frame by frame. You can hit the space bar if you need this information. It's going to tell you how to tension this thing. And then, okay, then it's going to sit there and it'll roll up fine. Okay, so when people say, well, this is a total piece of junk, it doesn't roll up well, and blah, 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 and it's like, okay, well, your other option is you can contact Harbor Freight. They maybe have a link for you to teach you how to tension it. It's not a deal killer, and no, you shouldn't have to do it. But if you have to tension it up, it's not that difficult. It's just a little time consuming. So, okay, let's get over to the slides, show them to it. Okay, folks, so I'm the home handyman. I hope you click subscribe and keep following me. If you'd like to drop a comment on your experience with this Merlin hose reel and hoses, go ahead. I'm not a big fan of the hoses, obviously. They're okay. I still got one that's working, and I know that eventually with all these cracks, I'm eventually going to get a severe, crack in it somewhere where I've got to get rid of it, and then I'll switch over to my Goodyear. The hose reel itself is working fine. Like I've said, I've had it for a number of years. It's still working well, so I'm not disappointed in the reel. It just happens to come with that cheapy Merlin hose, but it's better than some other hoses. But for $10 more or so, you can get a high quality hose if you need to or when you need to. I'll see you on the next video. My stray cats, my shop buddies, wherever they are, I'll show you a quick picture. They appreciate it, especially if you use the links below. We make a couple of bucks. I keep feeding them. I take care of them. they're feral, but all right, enough rattling. See you on the next video, folks. Have a great day. Bye-bye.